Fire is a funny thing, isn't it? While it burns, it consumes, it breathes, it spreads. But once one puts it out, it dies until it's recreated. Oftentimes humans are the ones to create this beautiful phenomenon, usually for their own personal enjoyment. Yes, fire is beautiful. A candlelight flickers gently, softly illuminating anything within its golden reach, giving off just enough light to allow vision, but not enough to blind. A campfire brings people together to sit around its brilliant glow, to talk and share stories, gracing any surrounding inhabitants with waves of heat like warm, caressing hands. Fire can bring and preserve life. To survive in the coldest of weather without modern technology would be nearly impossible without an external source of heat, which the dancing flames of a crackling fire can so graciously provide. Fire was one of the original heat sources. It indirectly helped keep humanity flourishing long before the luxuries of modern technology were ever thought of by men. The rich would cook their stews and meats with the aid of fire, while the poor would bundle up beside modest fireplaces in their modest homes, being wrapped in the tendrils of warmth while bitter cold settled in for the nights. Fire is beautiful. Fire is also destruction. To be careless with fire is to dance with death itself. Fire does not discriminate. Fire does not care who or what it burns, only so long as it is burning. For that is its purpose, to burn. Fire does not yield to our stereotypical visions of who is important, powerful, or rich. A rich man's flesh would boil, sizzle, blacken, and burn under its blaze just as easily as an urchin child's would. A powerful businessman, with his important papers and his stiff suits, and his important social influence would burn to a blackened crisp as easily as a pizza might when you fall asleep while waiting for it to finish cooking. Because fire does not care who or what it burns. You never think about this, do you? I know you don't, because you put so much value into material things that are ever so important to you, the things you simply cannot live without. That $200 dress you bought, the $50 belt, those things aren't special. They are pieces of fabric. And fabric, if I must remind you, is merely kindling to the all-consuming flames of the fire. Here, why don't you do a test? At least, you should have while you were still able to. You should have taken 2 shirts, see? One of your brand-name $50 t-shirts, and an off-brand one from the $2 clearance rack. The ones you always would sneer at and call beggar's clothes. You should have lit the 2 on fire, and watched as they both burned to ashes with the same fragility under the searing flames. In the end, the things you place the most value in can be destroyed just as easily as anything under the crackling flames of the funny, beautiful, destructive thing called fire. Your home can burn that easily too, with maybe a bit of prompting from several gallons of gasoline. And say, that man I've been seeing you with, did you ever wonder how his skin would look after it had been ravaged by flames? Did you think of him as immortal, like you once thought of me? Did you tell him, too, that he had one of those faces that would be handsome forever? He's not. It won't. You know that now, don't you? I made a special point to burn his body to a withered crisp of a corpse and place it on your couch before you returned home to him. I wanted you to see what fire could do before I let you experience it firsthand. Your reaction to his body, I must say, was golden. You may have screamed loud enough to wake the dead. Luckily for me, though, you were so distracted by the corpse of your pimp that you missed the very distinct smell of gasoline. Or maybe you were just too stupid to identify it. I took pleasure in lighting the match that brought you to where you are now. Before I threw it in the window of your kitchen, I thought of how beautiful and innocent the small flame looked. I thought of how many endless possibilities that little flame had, what else I could be using it for. I determined that your destruction was a worthy cause for this newborn flame. The sight of your house going up in flames certainly helped to lift some of the weight of hatred and anger I have towards you off my back. Not all of it, of course. I did delight when I watched, from a distance, as you ran out of your house, your overdone, hairspray-coated hair and your gaudy designer's jacket ablaze. I watched until the fire department came, and took you away. I almost imagined that I could hear your flesh sizzling and smell your hair burning. I laughed when you started rolling around on the ground and screaming for help. And now you're in a hospital, and I imagine your face is burnt beyond recognition, and that your hair is gone, and I am happy once again. It's ironic, isn't it, that once upon a time we sat by a fireplace on our honeymoon, roasting marshmallows, and you said the fire was so beautiful. You said, as I